Should I be worried about my partner's coworker? Update here. Hoping to get an outside perspective to see if I'm reading too much into this. A bit of background: my partner, M30, and I, F32, have been together for about 4 years now. Prior to our relationship, he said he was very flirty with his coworker, F26, and it was almost dating territory, but nothing serious happened. Let's call this coworker M. M threw a party, and my partner invited me to come. When I introduced myself and M realized whose partner I was, she pulled me aside so that we were alone and asked, "So, what's so special about you then?" I've got to admit, the comment hurt a lot and caught me off guard. Luckily, a group of giggling girls approached, interrupting the inquisition. I ended up avoiding them and keeping to myself for the rest of the night. I get it, she's younger than me, she's thinner and much more attractive than me, and she and her twin sister are Instagram famous. I know I'm not physically attractive by traditional standards, but the comment still came off really prickly and rude. Like she couldn't fathom why my partner would ever pick someone ugly like me over a model like her. My partner still works with her, and they do go out for drinks after work sometimes. I'm not usually the jealous type. My partner invites over nude models to pose for his work, and he has many beaux a day. I fucked up all female friends who are lovely to me. But I really don't like him, and I don't trust him, particularly after her party comments. I'm concerned that M is flirting with him, or that she is saying snarky, disrespectful remarks about me that he ignores as jokes. I'm concerned that if I don't point this behavior out, it might go right over my partner's head and build into something worse. At the same time, I'm concerned that if I tell my partner what she said, he'll say it's no big deal and take her side because she's pretty, and I'll just come off like the jealous girlfriend. Am I reading too much into this? Should I let this slide, or should I bring it up with my partner? Tell him, not out of jealousy or pettiness but exactly as you put, so he knows and it doesn't go over his head. Honestly, maybe he has noticed things but didn't want to bring them up until you say something. Honestly, if anything, if he sides with her, he doesn't deserve you. Kind of should lose your respect and stop talking so lowly of yourself. He is with you. Like she was saying, you clearly got something about you that she doesn't have, so I wouldn't be so quick to put yourself down. Thank you for your nice comments. Smile. While I'm not a beau today, I fucked up a model. I do know I have some great qualities. I'm charitable, and I'm kind to people, and I'm smart, and I'm good at starting conversations with strangers. Well, except maybe for the scenario above. I'll try and articulate how I feel. If he does pick her side, I'm not going to try to win over a guy who doesn't pick me. M sounds like a bitch. How is your partner handling this? If he cares about you, he'll avoid M and put her in her place, i.e. shuts it down when she messes with you. Should you worry about her? No. If he wanted to be with her, clearly he could be. He picked you for a reason. Whatever insecurities you have, doesn't seem like it's his fault, unless there is more to the story. Trust your partner. If they're not trustworthy, don't be with them. That said, I don't see why you shouldn't tell him what she said, though. It was a bitchy thing of her to say. Mention in passing what a jealous CNT she was and laugh it off. Honestly, if he doesn't take your side on that, it's a red flag. Bring it up with your partner. So, what's so special about you then? Well, for one, I don't rudely accost other people's partners at parties. I would definitely tell your partner about this. My 29F family sold me out to my husband, 30M, after I left him. My husband and I have been married for 7 years. 2 years ago, I had a miscarriage. My husband expected me to just get over it. I don't know why I was shocked/hurt by his behavior, since he had previously asked me to have an abortion. I tried really hard for 6 months to get over it, but the pressure from him and his family to continue playing the happy doting wife role was too much, and I finally told him I wanted a divorce. He kept insisting I didn't mean it and we would talk about it once he got back from his trip. An hour after he left, his cousins turned up for a girls' week. They wouldn't let me out of their sights, so after 4 days of this, I snuck out like a rebellious teenager in the middle of the night and went to stay at a hotel. I made the mistake of using our joint account, So my husband found me and made me come home. Again, I tried really hard to just get over it, but I was miserable, and my husband wasn't listening whenever I tried to talk to him. Eventually, I reached out to my sister and she said I could come stay with her. I lived with her for 8 months and I was trying to repair my relationship with my dad and stepmother until they reached out to my husband and asked him for money in exchange for my location. It's been 3 months since I moved back home, but I can't get over the betrayal. Worst part is that my husband is now friendly with my family and they regularly come over. I feel sick every time I see my dad and stepmother, but they keep insisting they did the right thing and I look so much happier now and that they were desperate for money, so I should understand. My step-siblings, who I hate, are suddenly the best of friends with my husband. How does someone get over something like this? I was so happy in those 8 months when I thought I was finally going to have a good relationship with my dad, but now I just feel sad. Too long didn't read, I left my husband and went to stay with my sister without telling him. While living there I tried to repair my relationship with my dad and stepmother until they told my husband where I was in exchange for money. Now they're acting like they're the best of friends with my husband and like they did me a favor. You need to leave. Don't tell anyone when or where you're going. Get out ASAP. Cut contact with your family. That is unforgivable behavior. You did it once, you can absolutely do it again. Imagine having freedom not just for 8 months but forever. So, you don't mention how your relationship is with your husband these days. What you've said sounds like abuse and control to me, but I'm not in your marriage. Personally, I would leave this guy and cut off all contact with your family who can't be trusted. Unfortunately, if you do, you can't go back to your sister's place as that's the first place he'll look for you. I don't know where in the world you are, but I would look into finding organizations that can help you escape abusive marriages. Make sure to do it from a computer or phone that your husband cannot access the search history on. Good luck. I hope you can escape safely. You need to get out. Is there anywhere you can go? Speak to women's refuges. This sounds more like a hostage situation than a marriage. You need to leave him and go North Carolina with your parents. My fiance wants me to keep him in the loop. Is this controlling? I've been single pretty much my entire life until I met my fiance. When we got serious, he asked me to keep him in the loop about my plans, just so he had an idea of when we can meet up, etc. As I've been single for a very long time, it's not natural for me to keep someone in the loop about my life. I also have ADHD, so I will forget as well too. There have been a few times where I've mentioned my plans for the next day at the end of the night and he would get annoyed at being informed last minute. The plans were pretty much last minute and unconfirmed. Another time he blew up at me because I didn't confirm with him in the morning that I went to go do work in our hangout spot, even though I told him the night before. We had this week off work, and we were making plans on Monday about what day we'd like to go hiking together. I told him that I was going to a running club on Sunday with my sister and my friend, but I might cancel. He told me not to cancel. Fast forward to yesterday night, Saturday, he asks me if I want to go hang out with his family. I said I would at 6 p.m. I mentioned I had running club in the morning. This morning he asked me why I didn't tell him sooner that I had running club, as we agreed I'd keep him in the loop. To me, it feels like I did on Monday and last night. I've told him I think this behavior is controlling. He doesn't tell me where to go and what to do, but he just wants to know where I am and what I'm doing. He does keep me in the loop about his life. People who trust each other and people who don't can both want this information for different reasons. Control for the untrusting and logistics for the trusting. So asking doesn't necessarily mean much. However, it's important to examine how he responds when the answer isn't what he wanted, and it sounds like this guy is responding very poorly. I would be cautious here. I think some of these things are reasonable about being kept in the loop. It's normal to want to know what your partner is doing day to day. What is not normal is the amount of anger he has when your plans change or you don't tell him. It's not normal to need to confirm everything so it's set in stone at the last minute. It's not normal to get upset when someone forgets. or when they make last-minute plans. Bottom line is a reasonable amount of communication is discussing plans like, so what are you up to tomorrow? Have you got anything going on next week? Not I expect you to tell me everything when you plan it and when it's confirmed, and to never forget anything. That kind of attitude is going to lead to a real spiral on his part a few years down the line if you're busy for a few hours and he's used to knowing everything about your whereabouts. Nip this in the bud immediately. I like keeping you updated about what's going on in my life, but I do not like when you get upset with me if I forget or don't let you know if things are confirmed, or when you accuse me of forgetting when I've already mentioned things. That is too far, and I want to share my life with you, but I don't want to feel like you're my parent. And please, for the love of God, don't share your calendars until he's stopped blowing up about these things. Keeping him in the loop about your plans is considerate to your partner. What is unreasonable is seemingly needing an itinerary of your weekdays in advance with no deviation. That shit is army level stupid. Someone else said it, but I'm going to say it again because it's worth mentioning twice. Nip that shit in the bud. If he blows up at you over that, yes, that's controlling, but simply saying I'll be going to Rebecca's house tonight for cocktails or I'm going to running club in the morning is perfectly fine. If he doesn't hear you when you say it, that's his problem. If he doesn't remember, that's his problem. The only reason your partner should get frustrated with you for not telling you where you are is if you agreed to let him know you got home safe, and forgot, making them worry. To your original question, no, it is not controlling to be kept in the loop. In fact, it's common courtesy in a relationship to always let the other person know what you're doing when you're not going to be home, particularly if living together. For example, my partner wants to play a game with his friends over video call tonight and he asked me if it was okay. He didn't ask me because he thought there would be a chance I would say no. It was more of a rhetorical question. He was just letting me know that he would like to do this tonight. I just said sure, no problem. In fact, if you were living together and didn't tell the other person if you were going to be out of the house or busy, that would be quite rude. However, blowing up at someone because they didn't tell you until the last minute is not acceptable. I am also someone that hates knowing things at the last minute, and my partner's family always does things at the last minute and it really pisses me off. But I would never blow up at my boyfriend if he told me at the last minute, hey, I am going to go out with my friends in 10 minutes. I would say, hey, maybe in the future could you let me know a bit earlier when you plan on going out? I don't like knowing things at the last minute.